Welcome to the CUNA News Weekly Wrap-up for June 12th through 16th. We've got a lot to cover. CUNA Chief Economist Mike Shank talks readers through the state of the economy and the lending outlook for the rest of 2023. Origence Chief Operating Officer Bob Child looks at how the growing electric vehicle market is changing auto lending. Deputy Editor Bill Merrick tells a pair of stories from last week's CUNA Cybersecurity Conference with NASCUS, covering business email compromise attacks and being prepared in cybersecurity. And we'll also get into a few housekeeping details and learning about our first credit union of the week. So let's get to the content. Here's Mike Shank. Mike is CUNA's chief economist. As always, he's locked in on what's happening with the United States economy, recognizing that it's been on a razor. Here's a clip of Shank on the latest episode of the CUNA News Podcast, discussing the chances of a recession and the responsibility credit unions have to serve amid financial uncertainty.
So what should credit unions do? One thing that, this is obvious to all credit unions, so it's not a deep insight, but having access to liquidity is a very big deal. And especially if we want to continue to behave like credit unions, if we want to help people get through any economic difficulties. We are actually, if you look historically, we are financial first responders. We were chartered to help people get through tough times, chartered in the Great Depression.
Auto lending has been quite the roller coaster over the past few years. According to Origence Chief Operating Officer Bob Child, electric vehicles are another twist on the track, with Child saying that EV changeover is gaining momentum in the U.S. With the growing EV market altering lending, Child says credit unions need to hunt as a pack to give EV players and auto manufacturers the message that credit unions are relevant and want to be at the top of the funnel. All right, over to New Orleans and the CUNA Cybersecurity Conference with NASCUS. Visit news.cuna.org to read how business email compromise attacks accounted for $2.4 billion in losses in 2021. What is a BEC attack? How can credit unions protect themselves and their members? Clifton Larson Allen's John Mower walks readers through the progression of typical BEC attacks, which typically include the lure, the compromise of credentials, and the fraud phase. Taking a wide lens to cybersecurity, Clifton Larson Allen's Randy Romes told conference attendees the most important thing is to be prepared. We need to be ready physically and mentally, and practiced and be accomplished with the right tools, Romes says, adding that incident response preparedness requires having a plan, knowing how vendors fit into the plan, and practicing the plan. Now, let's get over to CUNA Senior Editor of Public Affairs Communications, Alex McVeigh, for a look at what's happening in Washington, D.C.
It's all hands on deck here in Washington, D.C. as members of Congress introduce the CUNA League and Credit Union Opposed Interchange Bill. We're calling on all stakeholders to contact members of Congress to let them know this bill would be a disaster for credit unions, small businesses, and consumers, all to give the big box retailers a bigger slice of the pie. This week, we shared ways to improve the CFPB's rulemaking process and structure as Director Rohit Chopra testified before the House and Senate committees. We also wrote to House and Senate Armed Services Committee members to keep bank priorities out of this year's National Defense Authorization Act. Check out the latest from D.C. under the Policy and Issues tab at news.cuna.org. Back to Madison.
Thanks, Alex. Our inaugural Credit Union of the Week is First Tech Federal Credit Union in Beaverton, Oregon. The $16.7 billion asset credit union was founded in 1952 by employees of Hewlett-Packard and Tektronix. The credit union continues to serve technology-oriented companies today, with Gregory Mitchell as president and CEO and Jeff Hank as chairman. Learn more at firsttechfed.com. We randomized ChatGPT to give us our first credit union of the week, but we encourage viewers to send their credit union's information to bfritz@cuna.coop if you want to be included in the future episode. Finally, a quick look ahead. Come back next week as we recognize Juneteenth, cover CUNA Digital Marketing School, examine second chance loans at United Credit Union in Chicago, and discuss New York University Federal Credit Union's mortgage program on the next episode of the CUNA News Podcast. That's it for this week's wrap-up. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend. To stay up to date on these stories and more, subscribe to Credit Union Magazine, visit news.cuna.org, and listen to the CUNA News Podcast at news.cuna.org/podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the description for links to everything discussed in this video.